Mickey Mouse. Hope everybody is doing well. I know a lot of people are probably going to catch the recording. It's spring break for some people. So if you are one of those, hope you're having a good week wherever you are.
Awesome. And Beth Bilton, I just made you co-host. Would you be able to help me let people in? Because I lose track. I lose focus if I'm jumping around too much. But good to see you guys. I'm glad you're on. It is spring break, so we knew some people couldn't be here, but I'm glad you're here. I mean, it shows a lot that you are here, you are interested, you are looking to grow, and that is exactly why Meg and I made the decision. What we did is we attended, if you're new to Optavia, this might not make a lot of sense, but there are different coach teams. And every team, we're all on the same mission, but sometimes it's just different groups of people and different activities. And so they hosted, Dan and Megan Valentine hosted an event called Awaken. We decided to attend, and the intentions that were set the first day were exactly what I walked away with, and I want you to think about as you're on this call. But the intentions were to leave with a higher sense of belief. So belief in myself, belief in this mission, belief in what's possible, to also have an excitement for the same, excitement for the future, for myself, for this business, what's possible for other people. And I think the number one thing, and I think one of the most clear-cut messages in it, was to take radical responsibility for where you are right now. Take radical responsibility because it happens in us first. Your business will only change when you're very clear on where you are, why your business is where it is. And if we are in a space that we're blaming out anything outside of us, we're in that victim mentality and we're just not in control. And all we can control is what we can control, right? Which is our thoughts, our beliefs, and our actions. So, Meg, I didn't know if you had anything to share along those lines, or if you want to kind of jump in with some of your takeaways.
Yeah. So I will say one phrase was really big for me, and it was, "You were made for impact, not invisibility." And I'll say that again because that just like, oh, it hit me in the soul. You were made for impact, not invisibility. So what I tend to do when I feel overwhelmed or not worthy, or whenever my mind gets loud, is I like to turtle and feel invisible, be invisible, hide. And it was such a good reminder, when we post and people tell us like, man, thank you for being positive. Like, it really does make a difference. And so that was really helpful. But I will say, so Nick Johnson was there, and he asked everybody, he said, what was the best year Optavia has ever had? So I want you to go in the chat right now and write what you think the best year of Optavia was, and pop it in the chat. 2020, 2021, just saying out all your guesses as they come in. 2019, lots of good 20. Oh, Frank Davis.
What are we defining best as?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, this was just like growth of the company.
Best year of growth. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll tell you, Frank might be right. It might be 2028, but so far it was 2009. So in 2009, we had 100% growth, which is wild. And so one question that Nick asked us is, he was like, how many people were here in 2009? And there were 2 people there. And he said, all right, well, two of you was great. Everybody else, you missed the wave. You missed the wave of Optavia. You might as well leave. There's no reason to be here. You know how Nick Johnson is. He was really like dry and has that dry sense of humor and was funny. But it was such a good reminder that, we know that, even though we weren't here in 2000, none of us were here in 2009, right? That there has been incredible growth since then. And so they were talking a lot about how there's different cycles. We all know this, right? And they said there's usually a season of when things get bigger, expansion, followed by seasons of contraction. And I think of like a jellyfish that's like floating in the water, you know, it's beautiful. It doesn't feel beautiful when you're in it, but that's kind of what goes on cyclically with our business. We have seasons of expansion, seasons of contraction. And so it was such a good reminder that like, hey, we right now, and I know we've got some new coaches on the call right now, which is amazing. You don't even know we're going through a season of contraction. You're just expanding, and we love that for you. Dee came in 20, and she'll probably tell you this, so maybe I shouldn't. But she came in during a season of contraction, and she had no idea because she was growing. So it was such a good reminder that, and I really believe it, that we have incredible days, and our best days are ahead of us. And I really, really believe that. In fact, like one of the things that I appreciate, and I think every single person on the Zoom call can say, is that we have bulletproof belief in Optavia. Like, I don't care what someone tells me, they cannot convince me that Optavia does not work. You cannot convince me that the 5-in-1 does not work. I would bet every dime in my bank account. I just know that it works. It works if you work it, right? And so we have this belief in what is possible, and we get to share that boldly. So Dee, I'm gonna stop now because I'm getting a little too fired up over here. Don't want
We
to.
like it when you were fired up. I wanted to see if I could find exactly what was said about the program. The only time it doesn't work is when we're making it like the 5-in-1 and what we want it to be. Right? Like, you know what I mean? When we start trying to do that, and that happens with our business too. And I think, Nick was so clear on that, and every single speaker, particularly on leadership day, like didn't even know what the other was going to talk about, but the same theme came out, and it was boldness versus timidness. And boldness is, it's not arrogant. It's not rude. It's not imposing on others, but boldness, if you think about the most powerful people in the world, if you go to the public library, there are books written on people who were bold, right? People who were out there, that were sharing, that were speaking. And the example was given, like if you went to Google and asked who are the top 10 timid people in the world, you wouldn't get a list, right? They wouldn't even make a list, right? Because timid people don't make a difference in the world. And so bold, and that's really when it comes to your business, to supporting your clients, to offering this program, to offering coaching, your individual relationship with boldness is what the difference maker is. And boldness is in taking action, right? It can be a quiet confidence. Like I loved how the theme had the lion on the front. Lions don't roar, but they're very bold and courageous. And it was really, and I knew this when I had the biggest shift in my business, was when we start telling ourselves stories like, I don't know, maybe our time has come. Maybe I'm not good at this. Maybe I don't really want this anymore, right? Whatever the narrative is that you say, we shrink into timidness. And when we're timid, we're not taking action, right? So we become very inward focused, where boldness is outward focused. It is focused on the other individuals. And a lot of time was spent. Meg was right. Like when I came in 2011, I had no idea that the company was going through exactly what were happening, kind of happened over the past few years for us. I had no idea. I do know when I got the hang of this, because there are 4 things that were repeated over and over that has not changed in our business, is acquire clients, support clients, acquire coaches, and support coaches. And I got really good at acquiring clients. I got really good at supporting clients. But where I got stuck was on acquiring coaches and successfully launching coaches. And that might feel familiar to you. And they were so clear, I couldn't believe this, on if we make a decision that I'm just not good at this, I'm not going to offer sponsoring anymore. I'm not going to do it. What we're basically saying is I'm going to put a lid on my business. I'm going to put a lid on other opportunity for other people because I'm choosing not to grow. Now, that might be your story, and if you're okay with it and you want to sit with that, but I sat back and I thought about it, and I thought I had a decision to make, right? It was like 2017 or whatever, to say, you know, I'm not that good at this, right? Not that good at this. I'm not going to offer coaching. Not sure how to do it, whatever. Most likely, and I don't mean this with any kind of vanity, most likely you wouldn't be on this call. Most likely you wouldn't have found Optavia, right? Because in some way, because I made this choice, most of us were led to this because of somebody that I offered the opportunity to. And I just want us all to keep that in mind. I mean, if you are here because you want to grow, it's going to be in growing your channel, growing your clients, but it's also going to be in growing and duplication. And because that is what makes the biggest difference. And we are really in the life transformation business. And one of the coaches, I don't know, Meg, if you remember his name, but he had shared that he was picking and choosing who he was offering coaching to, and not really evaluating what really could be the possibility for each individual and looking at each individual. And the coolest person was there named Phyllis. And Phyllis is 81 years old. Just last month, she made regional director and she had her highest FQV ever, I think, of over $20,000. So we're all like, be a Phyllis, you know, like Phyllis is like nothing stopping her. And I just thought that was so cool of really choosing to rely on faith over fear, to choose belief, because it is an individual decision, and a willingness to grow, and an acceptance that if we're not good at something, it just really means we need to do it more.
Oh,
Meg, what
so
you got
good,
around
Dave.
that?
Yeah, so my favorite example that I heard, I think maybe in my whole entire life, was from the McGuires. And they came up on the stage with their newborn baby, or maybe 3 or 4 month old baby, and a baby bottle. And the McGuires, if you don't know, they sponsored 25 coaches last year. And this year they're sponsoring, their goal is to sponsor 50, but they actually sponsored 25 last year, which is like 25 coaches in a single year. Y'all, woo, that's wild. But the mom was holding the baby and she had this bottle with her, and she tried to give the baby the bottle, and the baby was like, yeah, like, no thanks, I don't want the bottle. And she said, okay, the baby doesn't want the bottle, the baby's not hungry, it's okay, I'm going to try to feed the baby later because I know later she'll be hungry. And this was all an analogy or a metaphor for coaching, right? Like, we offer coaching to other people, and sometimes they're not hungry. Sometimes they don't want it. Sometimes they got other stuff going on. That doesn't mean anything about us. That means everything about them, right? They just aren't in a season where they're ready, and that's okay. So I just, it gave me so much freedom to think about that with offering coaching, right? Because when we do that, we're just, it's kind of like that example of the airline stewardess up and down the airplane, right? But just, it just hits different for me. Just offering it. Are they ready? If not, that's okay. We know they're going to be hungry later. And when they're ready, we're going to be there holding the bottle, ready to go. So I just thought that was so, so powerful. And the other statistic that I really loved around sponsoring was, I know some of us hesitate to bring up sponsoring because we think, well, like, we don't want it to look like, you know, we're doing this for us or for us to make money or whatever. I don't know. It creates all kinds of thoughts and feelings. But Kevin Tinter said, when you sponsor an ED and get them to ED, that ED is making $2,100. Your portion of that is about $150. So that's pretty incredible, right? Like, when you look at that, it's like, man, you are helping that executive director bring $2,100 into their life, which right now can change so much for people, right? With how people are hurting and whatnot. So that was just a really good perspective shift too, that I really appreciated. All right, Dee, back to you.
Yeah. So I know you guys are probably waiting for the shiny object, right? the answer, right? And we're going to get to it. I promise. By the end of the call, you will have your answer on what the thing is, that thing. But one thing I really liked, and I'd love to share like maybe two of the stories, and I think Meg, you had one that really stood out, but they had coaches, experienced coaches come and talk about their businesses. Where were they? And then what happened that their business is different. And there was Julie Fecht, who's been coaching, I think 8 or 9 years, Laura Gaffney, you might know Laura and Bob Gaffney, and then Corbin, I forget Warwick, I forget what Corbin's last name
Yep.
is. But they all kind of described where they were, etc. So Laura Gaffney, I grew with her. We were on stage, you know, and like HIJKL, like we were like right next to each other on stage all the time, but from integrated national to global to presidential to integrated presidential. But the business dropped significantly. So what she did was number one, she got her health back. Number one, she said, I can't mess with this. And if you go look at her pictures, she is a lean, mean fighting machine. And she had put on weight. She got her health back. The second thing was, she said, people feel your energy before you say or post anything. They know what's behind that. So if we are carrying extra weight on our body, we are most likely carrying extra weight in our brain, right? You might be carrying weight and heaviness on your brain about yourself, about your business, about your capabilities, but people feel that. She decided to coach her clients really, really well. And she decided to start inviting again. She had not signed on a coach since November of 2023. 0 coaches in 2024. And then in January, when she decided, you know what, I'm going to take a chance on me and I am going to work this and do it, she started inviting, and she has signed up 6 coaches this year. And she said, what you look to see, you will find. And so it was the big change there was a change in mindset about her personal health and a change in the way that she was going to approach her business. The other was Corbin, and some of you guys might know Corbin because she had also participated in the Bob Heilig trainings. And so she had decided, you know what, I'm going to have to invest. I want to learn how to get better, which she realized all that was actually starting to make conversations with more people, even if that just meant saying hi in a Facebook message. But she had signed up 1 coach in January of 2024, none since then. But she says she has also signed up in 6 coaches in 2025. Her FQV is the highest it's ever been at 20,000. And she said, what changed was my belief. And she prayed for God to put the people in front of her and for her to see the people that needed what she had to offer. So 100% mindset shift. Nothing has changed in terms of acquire, support, acquire, support. So Meg, I think the other story of Julie Fecht really impacted you.
Oh my gosh, yeah. So Julie got up there, and I'm thinking more of Thursday, Dee, when kind of a little bit about what you were sharing. So Julie came to convention last year and came to convention feeling like she needed to make a decision if she was going to continue coaching. She was an attorney, so she knew she could make great money as an attorney. And so she was thinking, do I go back? Do I go back to work? Do I go back as an attorney? What should I do? And so she came to convention and made a decision at convention that she was going to write herself a different story. She was stuck in a story. And so she wrote her new story of what she wanted in her life, and like was very, very crystal clear and descriptive, like down to every last detail, and wrote that story out of 20,000 in frontline volume and how many coaches and what was happening in her family and what they were able to do and all that stuff. And she stood before us. She was another one that lost, I think she lost 15 pounds or something like that. But stood in front of us and basically in tears that so many of these things had happened because she wrote herself a different story. It was just so cool. I feel like for me, my belief had gotten shaky. I had been around, I don't know, I gotta take personal responsibility and accountability for it. My belief had gotten shaky because I was feeding it. I was feeding it. I was looking for evidence that things had shifted, that it was fun while it lasted. We made an impact while we could. I helped all my people. There's no more people for me to help. You know, all these different stories we tell ourselves. And Julie also said these were the stories she was telling herself. But then she shifted, and it was just so cool to see the fire in her and to see person after person who was winning in this season. They said the dam is breaking for those with confidence and boldness. When I first heard that, I was a little annoyed, which I probably shouldn't say out loud, but I was like, oh yeah, tell us about the dam breaking for those people. It must be great. But I realized it was my belief. That's why that was the dam for me. I was my own dam. I was creating this dam. So I am so excited about what is next. They talked a lot about, you know, it's so hard because we are the lock and we are the key. You are the lock and you are the key. Your client is the lock and they are also the key. And all we can do is invite. Like Dee and I are going to do this, and we are going to help as many people as we can. And we hope with all our heart, every single person on this call is coming with us. We want you there. And we're at a place where it's like, you know what? Some people aren't on this call anymore. I can't live in sadness that they're not on this call. I am living in hope for who's going to be here next week and what's going to be said next week and the impact that we're making next week. So that's where I am and that's where I'm going. And I want as many of us that can do it. Oh, I love that, Nanan. Count me in. Come on, girl. Let's go. All right, Dee, back to you.
Yeah, I love that. And they did make it clear, you guys, that if you are doing so there's skills and there's action, right? And there's a third component. So if you're doing the things and you're not getting the result, the third component, if you want to write it down, it's spelled, I'll go ahead and spell it for you. The third component is YOU. It's you. Now, you might be in a situation like I faced where I had to level up. It was a time for personal growth. I had blind spots that I could not see. You know what I mean? So it might be that is, and you know, Meg and I want you to know that our goal is to help everyone grow here, everybody to grow. And I've realized, I think I personally have been too timid in some of my mentoring, that it's not doing anybody any favors to be, you can mentor and give good feedback from a loving perspective. And I think that has to happen. And that also has to happen with your clients too. Like you coaching, like really stepping into our roles as coaches and mentors and not being afraid to offend, because sometimes it's the offensiveness that actually gets, you know what I mean? That, do you ever do that? Like your back goes up and then you're like, oh, probably right. You know, and so I'm making a commitment also to myself to step back into the gifting that I know that I have been given in terms of seeing potential in people, but also being able to draw that greatness out of them. And sometimes that involves hard conversations. So that is my promise to you, that if you are, you know, up for that and you want to grow, that I will do my best as a mentor to provide that feedback and guidance, because there is, what they basically said is, and maybe you can write this down, is they said, how do you bounce back? You just do. And write down what's holding you back. Because you know. And start doing the opposite. And I thought that was pretty funny, because we know, like Meg said, it's the belief, right? I haven't been offering sponsoring. I took it. I started doubting, could I bring somebody to, you know, help them grow their business? Could I? Whatever. The answer is yes. And it was clear, like, and this is for you. If you've built this business before, you can build it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So good.
We have about 6 minutes. I would love to know, what do you want to know? Or like maybe, because it's impossible to regurgitate a notebook and also an experience. But what is it that you want to know or maybe want to talk about? Because there was a lot of gold.
So I'll ask a question.
Sure.
So when you did lose all this weight, right? And you were successful with it and stuff. And then people saw that, and then you gained weight or stopped doing it, right? And you're coming back, like you said, you just do it.
Mhm.
So how do you present that to the world?
A great question. You tell the truth. You tell the truth. And Dan has an example. I don't know if you got how many people you guys know. Jay Arsenio is his name, and he had lost about 110 pounds, and he gained like I think 60 or 70 of it back. Couldn't get back on program. Couldn't get back on program. Couldn't get back on program, and decided to get back on program. Started his own journey. Started it and shared about it, sharing it publicly, sharing exactly what happened, and he brought on 13 new clients last month. Today, I posted about not being able to wear my white pants last summer and that what I had slipped into. And I have private messages coming in again. People, asking questions. Thank you for being vulnerable, wanting to come back or find out more. So you just you be real.
People need that. They need our vulnerability. They need our heart. They need to know that we do it too, right? I mean, not that you should go out and gain weight just so you could say that, but like, it's people need that. They need who you really are to be living out loud, and that's going to resonate with people and be like food for their soul. I really believe that.
It's great. Thank you.
Yeah, everybody who shared, and like Corbin is a big girl. She's still a very she has more weight to lose, but she made a decision to just be public with it and start the journey again. And everybody I'd say who spoke that had turned their business around had gained back and then lost at least 30 pounds or more. So it wasn't just
and there was this awesome new guy, Frank. He reminded me of you. And he had just started coaching a couple of months ago. I'm not sure how many, but last month he made Fibic for the first time, fully integrated regional director with seven senior coaches. So he went from 4 senior coaches to 7 senior coaches in March. And he's a new coach. So I haven't seen that in a long time. Like, that is so incredible that is happening right now. And so I was just amazing to see people winning. When you see people winning, like, it just elevates everyone. I didn't mean to tell another story there, Dee. Sorry.
No, stories are good. Stories change lives, And what Meg and I really decided, right, is that we didn't want to be the lid on this team anymore, right? That we also know we have to lead from the front. And, there's no more looking back. You guys, like, there's no more complacency. There's no more timidness. Like, you can choose to stay there and I'll love you where you are, you know what I mean? But you're here and I know you care. And if that's the case, then, we control what we can control. And that's our health. That's our mindset. And that's our actions. And the key is exactly what Meg said. You are the lock and you are the key to the change. Any other questions or comments around?
You had mentioned something today in our client celebration call or before we started. There was a statistic about coaching and in the first so many days. If you could reiterate that.
Yeah. And one thing, yes, thank you, because I was going to talk about that tonight and time almost got away from me. So statistically, and this has been the case for years, most coaches come on within the first 60 days of being on program. Now, I will tell you, that's not the experience of our team. And I 100%, take ownership of that in the culture that we created around it. But when somebody comes on, when they're excited, when they have success, when people are noticing, that is the ideal time. And it's really up to us to be posturing from the beginning. Hey, people are going to be noticing. I'll tell you, people are going to be noticing. So the steps that they said with quality, number one, you got to be the best coach you can be, right? Casting vision for people, helping to integrate them, but also to kind of telling them and directing them what's next. But the, so posturing it, people are going to notice. People are going to notice, and they're going to notice fast. So we're going to be proactive, so you know how to prepare to share that as a referral for me, or you may want to coach. And then celebration calls. Those celebration calls, if that's something you have slipped from, and you might be thinking, I have to get the new clients first, but I'm just saying, as you're thinking about bringing the people on, those celebration calls, I have slipped from it, etc. Right? But when we're not opening our mouth about it, it's down the road when people get iffy on the program, and then their doubt goes down, right? And all of the things. So, so let's keep that in mind. Thank you, Debbie Pasco, for that, agreeing that that should be our posture. And I was really, really, you know, a little gut check there for me when I heard that's the statistic in the company. On a positive note, would you guys like to know that you are part of the top 10 states that have the most executive directors? Well, Georgia. If you live in Georgia, you do.
And North Carolina. North
and-
Carolina is one of them too.
Yep. Yeah, but we can choose to make any state that state. The other thing they said was really getting clarity of what it is that you want and where you're going, because without clarity, you're just going to flounder. And if you give yourself an out, you will always take it, especially when times get hard. So we got back to the napkins, you know, writing down your dreams and your desires and your future self and what he or she is doing. What are they saying? How are they showing up? And when I wrote this out, I realized it's growth mode for me. Like that what you want and the business you want is probably going to have to be you, Diane Nix 2.0. You, Gina Manley 2.0. You, Laura Flores, I'm just reading them off as I see them, 2.0, right? Like all of us. And you're not the same person you were when you became a coach, right? You're not. So we're an elevation, which is great. So thank you guys for coming. Two things I wanted to let you know is number one, I want you to copy this link out. We are thinking about hosting our own Awaken event for our team. We thought about the years that we had done that, and I think we were pretty darn good at it. It stressed us out, but we were pretty darn good at it, and they were powerful experiences. So we are thinking about tying it in with the watch party, the Optavia event on July 19th. So being like the Thursday night before would be a session. So you would travel in Thursday. We would have all day Friday and then Saturday and then departure Sunday. So in order to even begin planning, we have to get interest, because we have to look at what size place, that sort of thing. So I just put a link in the comments. If you can highlight that or go to it and let us know your interest, we would love for you to be a part of that. And then the last thing, as we're wrapping this up, and then we'll go over to the watch party, is this Thursday is the Ascend call. This is for EDs and above, but is really open to anybody who wants to grow. And the Ascend calls are around leadership and growth. But Kristen Glass is the speaker, and I have been asked to host that call, and I met with her today, and we are going to do it somewhat interview style. She has a couple key things she wants to say, then I'm going to interview her a little bit, and then we're going to open it up to Q&A from the audience. All of her team is coming as well. We've opened up to all of Optavia, so just really encourage you to be there this Thursday, because she is going to speak about how do you develop a sponsoring and a growth mindset for your business. So I think it'll be awesome. So that is all I have, Meg. Do you have anything else? I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.